Tonight, they are on the front line, assigned to work in the most dangerous region of our country for their profession.
All new at the top, a Brownsville Border Patrol agent injured in a possible assault.
At the top at 6 tonight, a Monday attack on Border Patrol agents in Cameron County has them on high alert.
The agent suffered a graze wound to the back of his head.
Multiple RGV sector agents have been assaulted in separate incidents in less than a week's time.
We reported on daily assaults. We wanted to show you the bigger picture. Channel 5's Varley Gonzalez went searching for it.
Agents in the Rio Grande Valley sector are hurt and sick more often than in any other part of the country. That's what we found out when we examined claims for compensation with the U.S. Department of Labor. Agents file a CA1 form for traumatic injury and a CA2 for occupational disease. We requested data from each of these claims submitted for the last 3 years from agents across the entire United States. After scouring through thousands of cells of data, the results are clear.
Coming up!
The ripples of the Rio Grande reflected the golden evening sky. The calm breeze was filled with aromas of the fertile ground embracing the water's edge. Don't be fooled. This can be a dangerous place.
Once they can't go any further, they'll come down. We'll keep pushing.
Especially for Border Patrol agents. In these shallow, churning waters flanked by high bluffs covered with dense vegetation, the landscape creates opportunity.
They'll use slingshots, they'll use rifles, and us, as we're passing by, they can easily reach us, and we don't really have much of an area to hide.
Agents guard this 70-mile stretch of river near Brownsville.
So us here, Riverine Patrol, we're the first line of defense. We're the ones who spot the trends, we spot where they're crossing, and we're the first line of deterrence.
Guns on board, radios in hand, even the cables in front of the boat have a purpose.
These cables were set up just because we've had cases where they string up cables across the river from the south side all the way to the north side, and their intention is to hurt us as we pass by. They intend for the cable to be low enough to where it can hit us as we're passing by on plane.
Training and special equipment don't spare agents from injury. Supervisor Mata knows what they go through. One of his agents was injured a few months ago when a bullet grazed the back of the agent's neck.
That we had vessels going in through this section, and we had the first vessel spotted a person on the south side with a long arm, with a rifle, and they called it out, but since we were moving in motion, the second vessel had no other option but to keep going as fast as they could, and the person on the south side went ahead and took shots at the vessel. They hit one of our agents behind the head, and they also hit the vessel a couple of times.
Operations like these are carried out across the U.S. Out of all 20 sectors, the RGV is the most active. Valley agents were responsible for almost half of all apprehensions. The green bars indicate total apprehensions in the last 3 fiscal years. Red is what Valley agents were responsible for, even though they had fewer agents than the Tucson sector. Historically, the sector with the most agents, Tucson, claimed the most injuries. That changed last year. Rio Grande Valley agents submitted 759 claims. That's 1 out of every 5 claims that year. That figure sticks. Overall, 1 out of every 5 traumatic injury claims were from Valley agents for the past few years. It gets worse when we zoom out. Texas proved the most injury-prone state, with 1 out of every 2 claims coming from here. That's half of all claims.
I would say most of those don't even get reported.
It doesn't come as a surprise to Chris Cabrera.
So we do see a lot of people, and we do see a lot of people that are really trying to get away. So that leads to, well, sometimes they end up in fights, sometimes they fall chasing somebody.
An agent and spokesperson for the National Border Patrol Council in the Valley, Cabrera is intimately aware of the sources of these claims. Muscle and ligament injuries are the most common nature of injury. Other claims include puncture wounds, burns, nervous system injuries, and mental, emotional, and nervous conditions. Most causes for these injuries in the Valley are unknown. Many happen as a result of falling into things like holes or off of structures. Some are due to violence, enemy action, and even accidental shootings. The other form the Valley has a strong grip on is the CA2. These are filed for occupational disease.
flu, strep throat, scabies, lice, chickenpox, you name it, it comes through here, through the Rio Grande Valley, and our agents are the one processing them, taking them into custody and dealing with them. So with that, you're going to have the exposure and ultimately the either injury or illness.
Agents in the Rio Grande Valley filed 1 out of every 4 claims. Most of those are for a problem many agents face sooner or later.
I mean, we wear hearing protection when we go to the firing range, but you're still going to get some type of residual loss. If you work on an ATV or a boat, obviously there's loud engines right behind you. It's just, you know, unfortunately, it's part of the job that most of our agents, by the time they retire, have some form of hearing loss.
Claims were also filed for testing positive for TB, contracting an infectious or parasitic disease, and even tumors, cancer, and related conditions. The sources vary from explosions to animals or insects or weather exposure. Day turns to night. Operations continue. Equipped with night vision, navigation, surveillance, and a coordinated team, we pressed forward.
We don't know what's on the other side of the bend, but we ought to paddle, and we're all going to go across that bend and see what's on the other side. Now, if there's a threat, and that threat is towards our nation, that's something that we ought to promote to defense, and we're going to go ahead and engage that threat.
Chasing shadows and noises, agents know it can be the source of their next encounter. Previously, shallow waters kept Border Patrol out of this area in Bronzeville. Agent Fausto Vasquez noticed more rocks hurled their way recently. He has a theory about that.
But now that we have those shallow draft boats that we can reach those areas, I guess the smugglers are not used to seeing us there, and they're getting more and more desperate as far as getting their drugs and aliens across.
We didn't see any rocks thrown their way during our time on the river. Just as we were about to leave, agents got a call of a group of about 20.
Taking off to the ramp.
Beams of light pierced the thicket. The group moved southeast. The boats kept up. It turned into a waiting game. Agents not knowing what to expect next.
For agent inquiring about the group I lost them in the brush last seen going down the river towards the 2050.
We wanted to address possible solutions or explanations as to the rise in injury claims in the valley. We asked for an interview with Rio Grande Valley Sector Chief Manuel Padilla in February. We're told his schedule will allow for an interview tomorrow. Late this afternoon, we were told our questions on this topic were referred to Customs and Border Protection Media Relations in Washington. In the studio, Valerie Gonzalez, Channel 5 News at 10.